their idea, I feel, is still very much alive today.
In Japan.
Well, I
Mm.
think all successful companies
Okay.
follow this.
Okay.
If you look at
Okay.
Apple,
Mhm.
Nike, because they have a moral,
Yeah.
they have
Mhm.
a clear goal.
Mhm.
They actually
Mhm.
they are successful.
Mhm. And eventually he established more than 500 companies at the
Mm.
beginning of the Meiji era. That was truly the beginning of the modernization of Japan. And that was one of the big reasons why he was selected as a design of the Ichiman Yusatsu. But the point here is, at that moment, we were thinking about the value of the work from the aspect of the qualitative aspect, not from the view of the numbers or monies. So at that moment, still there's so many Japanese people could get the variety of the jobs, and most of the jobs they had. Most of the Japanese people had confidence on their jobs, like a craftsmanship of the German people, and also we had some sort of a Meister system or whatever. But now, not so many young people try to be like a carpenters or such kind of things. But most of people try to become the how can I say, high wage to the salaryman. That is very 単一的 too simple, one way, one-sided mind. And so as a result of that, one of the way every criteria or measures of the company activity, not only the company, or even the education system is also measured by only the numbers. And we can see such kind of aspect all throughout everything in the modern Japanese society right now. So eventually, nobody cares about what we are doing for the job, but they just measure by number. And as a result of that, limiting the working hour came from based on such kind of ideas. That is my view. So
long-term aspect.
Okay, so do you know Martin Simek?
Who is it?
Martin Simek? Name of the
it's a 5-minute video I want to show you.
Okay.
I think this is actually, it touches upon what you're saying. Let me try to find it.
And interesting.
It's a famous video on
No, just wait. Yeah.
Wait for what? Oh, sorry, it's more than 5 minutes. But I think the point. This is 5 minutes. Okay, the point is made in 5 minutes. So let's. The quality is not so.
I call it the golden circle.
Oh, I remember.
Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Nah. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products. And nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. When we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. Sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and the figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why do we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't the other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal?
So basically, the problem is that we don't inspire our youth with our why. I think that's this very simple explanation, but that's the issue.
I totally agree with him. And what's inside in the most internal circle in the case of the Japanese is why I have to do, because this is good for for myself, for the society, or for the community, or for the people.
Right.
So that is in the case of the Japanese.
Or
maybe that maybe I read also the universal idea that in past we have such kind of very strong motivations, and that idea came from the idea of Confucianism, Japanized Confucianism. So, and maybe the situation in Europe or United States other US country, maybe some sort of a religion like Christianity or whatever, so that we have also same sort of a mechanism or philosophies. And Shibusawa Eiichi, I guess he acted based on that idea, and they succeeded to establish a so many company, and that he built the beginning of the modernized Japan from the aspect of
From
business.
his starting point was value. Why?
Yes.
Moral.
Yes.
Moral.
This was said by Steve Jobs.
Yeah. So he's using Apple as
Yeah.
as
Steve
a-
Jobs used this word.
And
He just copied.
yeah. He worked for Apple.
Yeah,
Used
this
it.
word is spoken by Steve Jobs.
I don't know. I didn't see.
Yeah, Steve Jobs said same word. He writes same something.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I saw it.
So the point is the why we need the working hour limitation, and I myself don't believe we need the time limitation. But if the people can get the right job for them, then they don't need to limit the working hour by numbers. If they can work, they work, and if they like to take a rest, then they take a rest.
Right.
That's all.
Right, but that only works if you can inspire people. If you talk to their why. Now, what is happening in a lot of companies that people don't drive their work. Work drives them. They are forced to do things that do not matter in the grander scheme of things. That they cannot take pride in their work because we don't follow our own vision. We follow the grill, whatever the customer wants.
Yes, good one. Yes, yeah. Same with the European people. We also have the pride. Everybody have a pride, so they don't care about even how much they can get. But now everything became very superficial, and they always care about the numbers. In the case of business, the salary. And in the case of Facebook or Twitter,
but why is it? Why is it that people care so much about only their salary? It's because there is no purpose. There is no purpose in what people are doing in a lot of companies today.
Yeah, I agree. That is also another aspect of such kind of tendency. Yes. So that the important thing is how we can get back the pride of what we have to do and why we have to do.
By letting the people who work for us taking control over their destiny. Don't force them to do things that don't matter.
Yes.
Giving them a sense of purpose. That's the point.
Yeah, and yes, and motivation. Let them have the motivation.
Right.
Yes, and some sort of a big idea or we say kokorozashi, will.
Yeah.
Should be in the center of everything.
I use this video, so we have a change in leadership in July, and I'm writing the strategy for next term, and I use this video, this idea to basically because we are currently being driven, or most of the people are being driven by the workload that just being stacked upon them. They don't, yeah. So basically bring it back. So we are going to move away from just doing whatever is there, but we're going to set our own goals, our own targets, and we set our own scope of activities. Also from a purpose-driven idea. So yeah,
that is a good idea, and you are trying to persuade the Japanese company to get the project or something.
Yeah. Well, it's actually Motomoto, an English company with a large presence in Japan.
Okay. But at the same time, what we discussed this morning with Uno-san was because the situation is a bit more serious in Japan. Yeah, because we, what I say, we spent, it's been already half a century, for example, after the World War II. And that was the moment when we started to hire the idea of the efficiency or the logical into our work. So that was the moment when we started to measure everything by numbers. This is very true. But anyway,
And successfully so, very successfully.
and eventually we succeeded, and we had the huge, what to say, wonderful, what can I say, experience about 高度経済成長期, high growth of the economy by the so much working hard salarymen. But eventually, just after that, we saturated and we are wondering where we should go right now. And well, and my point is, during this half a century, Japanese company tried to hire the people who well match with the idea that the things can be measured by numbers and everything can be evaluated by numbers. Such kind of people get the point in the company, and gradually they became the higher level of the position of the company, and now most of the such kind of management people and executive people to the management people, all of those people have the same sort of way of thinking. They believe everything can be measured by numbers. That is some sort of very strong, not the culture, but the nature or feature or characteristics of a Japanese company right now. Or on the other hand, no Japanese company try to think about the things in long-term views. Yeah, of course, very limited persons still see the things in long-term views. Not only the 1 year, not only the quarter. Yeah, of course, the number for the quarter or year is also important. But at the same time, we have to have the long-term views. Otherwise, we lose the companies after maybe 10 years or half a century or whatever. So always that was our way, let's say, to do the job. And also as a result of that, Japan is one of the country which have the most number of the company who have the company history more than 100 years or 500 years. We are the only nation who have such kind of huge number of the long history company, because most of them have such kind of long-term view. Then they can sustain their business for more than 100 years, 500 years, 1,000 years. And one of the oldest company in Japan, established during the 8th century, still remained. Kongogumi, that is, their company is related with the refurbishment and repairment of the shrine or temple, or such kind of old stuff of the business. But still, their company remained. But they are not the one company. Still more company remain in Japan, which have more than 1,000 year the histories, company histories. That is because the reason was because, as I said, they could have the long-term visions of their business and also the pride, as you said.
But so
yes.
Basically, but it depends how you see the world, right? If you are a finite player or an infinite player. If in a finite game, it's basically you play, it's win or lose, right? But if it's an infinite game, you basically play to stay in the game. It's a different thing. In a finite game, you are adversaries, so you're very much trying to win or lose. So short-term perspective, the game, the rules of the game have been decided, and it's just like soccer. It's 90 minutes. The one who scores most goals wins. That's so you win or lose. But if you are an infinite game, the rules can change. And the thing is, the objective is not to win or lose, but it's to stay in the game. Right? It doesn't matter whether you're the market leader or whatever. Basically, you stay in the game. So your objective becomes not to win or lose, it becomes to stay in the game and to improve yourself. To improve yourself. To actually, to every day, to strive to be better. And better and better. So our objective, as measured, as decided by the companies, to become #1 brand. They said, well, that's not an infinite game. That's a finite game objective. It doesn't matter whether you're #1 or #2. Why are we doing this? What exactly do we bring to our customers that it's like #1, but #1 for who? I mean, it's basically just a way, we're on top of the list. It doesn't mean anything. So your perspective, if you're an infinite game player, if you're just focused on delivering value to your customer, doesn't matter whether you're #1 or not.